How's it going, guys? That's right, the Crusader's back. In today's video, I'm going to be doing something a little different. I'm going to be talking about some of the best features of rental property, specifically in the state of Florida. But this can also be applied to other states in our great union. I've done a lot of investing in Florida. I've done rental properties and real estate, and I've learned a lot. I've made mistakes. So I'm going to go ahead and share with you guys some of my mistakes and some of the things that I have learned, so maybe you don't make the same mistakes that I did. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing I'd like to talk about when it comes to rental property, I've had the best returns and the best luck with a single family home. And this is for multiple reasons. Number one, single family homes are easier to resell. More people want a single family home versus a condo or a townhouse or a duplex or anything like that. And another thing is that single family homes you have more control over versus like townhouses with associations. They're a lot more limiting. So with the single family home, I've seen that being the best bet as far as a rental property if I was going to invest in it. Now, another thing that I want to mention is in the state of Florida especially, a single story single family home is preferable. Now, I know everybody's not going to, sometimes, you'll find a deal, it's a two-story. I mean, this is stuff that I've learned these are more like guidelines, but I've seen that a single-story home is better when it comes to being a rental for a few reasons. I'm going to go over them. If you have a two-story house, now you're dealing with stairs. And worst of all, you're going to be dealing with plumbing most of the time at the second floor. Now, if there isn't plumbing on the second floor, then, it's not as bad. But most two-story houses have plumbing on the second floor. And what I've seen, I've experienced this firsthand, is the showers. It's usually the showers, not so much the tubs, but the showers. They will eventually give. They will eventually fail. The tile in the shower will eventually fail. The water will leak through. And usually it's a slow leak, so insurance won't cover it. And you're going to have to redo, it's a bunch of work, and you're going to have to redo the whole thing. It's way worse when that happens than versus if it fails in a single story where it's just going to go into the slab. So in my experience, you want to go with a single story house. Again, the number one thing you want to look for is cash flow, but overall, I'd rather have a single story than a two-story. The next thing I want to talk about are some of the features like bedrooms and bathrooms. I've seen the sweet spot is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. That is right there that the most people want that for some reason. It's usually a family with 2 kids. That's somebody who would be looking for something like that. Or a family with a kid and they want an office or something like that. That just seems for the money, the ability to cash flow on a 3-bedroom, 2-bath has been the best. I mean, you can get houses obviously that are better, that are bigger, but it doesn't translate to dollars as well as the 3-bedroom, 2-bath, if that makes sense. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, and this is especially in Florida, is when it comes to a rental property, you want to make sure that it is block construction. I can't emphasize this enough. Block construction is key in Florida because Florida, we get a lot of rain, we get hurricanes, we get bugs that eat the shit out of wood. It's incredible the damage that can be done and how just stick houses, they don't last in Florida. I mean, it's either the termites, it's either rot. I mean, all sorts of damage that can happen with stick construction or wood construction. So I wouldn't touch anything that wasn't blocked. Another thing I want to talk about is the school zone in which the rental property is in. You got to make sure that you got a good school zone because that's what's going to drive people to want to live in your property. I mean, I've experienced this, on more than one occasion where when I had a property in a good school zone, you'd have a line down the street if people want to rent it. That's what you want. You want people fighting over your rental. You don't want it to be like where you got to keep lowering the price and begging people to live there. You want a line, and that's one of the things that will do it, is being able to have the property in a school zone that's got a good school that people want to get their kids into school. So I can't emphasize that. That's a huge one. Another thing I want to talk about are HOAs. When it comes to having a rental property, you don't want your rental property in some HOA that's super high because it's going to mess with your cash flow. It's like they're always going to find a reason to jack it up. You just have less control of your monthly outgo when you got these huge HOAs. So it's like an HOA is something that, is more often than not a good thing because it keeps everything looking nice for the most part. I mean, depends, but You don't want an HOA that's out of control, that you got all this extra shit, because people just aren't going to give you the money. It's going to mess with your cash flow. People like that kind of stuff, don't get me wrong, but a lot of people, they're not willing to pay for it. So it's like, having a high HOA is going to mess with your cash flow. I've seen it happen. I've seen it destroy a cash flow, especially if they assess you or jack your shit up. Another thing I want to talk about is flood zones, especially in Florida. Do not buy property in a flood zone. The insurance is way higher. If anything happens, like a hurricane and stuff, which they do happen around here from time to time, it's going to be a nightmare. I mean, you're going to have to put your tenants, put them up somewhere else. I mean, that's just going to be a headache. So I would not touch anything that was in a flood zone. It's not worth the headache. Another thing I want to talk about now is some of the things that you can change to the property. If it may not have it right when you buy it, but you can change to better improve your property. Now, there's some things will actually add value, and other things people think, like adding a pool. Oh yeah. No, you don't want to do that. First thing I want to talk about is the flooring. If there's carpet in that place and it's ready to be ripped out, I mean, if it was brand new, then okay, yeah, use it until it needs to be ripped out. But chances are, if the people have animals and kids, the carpet is not going to last more than 4 years. Once that carpet has been worn out and ready to be removed, you get that carpet the hell out of there and you go with tile or LVP. You don't want to mess with carpet, because it's going to be a constant thing. Now, if you got a second story, sometimes carpet it's still the best option, because even if you do you can't do tile on stairs. And if you do a bunch of tile upstairs, it's going to be loud as hell. And not to mention the fact, tile really, if you have big areas with tile on an upstairs bedroom, upstairs area, it's going to start to crack. It's too much weight, and it'll be loud as all get out. So I would recommend still doing the carpet on the second story, just because it's way more expensive to replace LVP on stairs, and LVP on stairs is not cheap. The bullnose to do stairs costs way more than just a floating thing on a single floor. And another thing I want you guys to know is, let's just say you get a place and the tile looks like shit. Well, you can just go put the LVP right over the tile. You don't need to tear that out, which that'll cut down on your costs. Guys, I've been there, done that. I've run into all this stuff. I'm giving you guys the gems. Another thing I want to talk about is windows. In Florida, you want to make sure, obviously, if you got a deal on a house, chances are they don't have impact windows. But impact windows are something that's a huge plus, because when the hurricanes come, you're not going to be able to find anybody to board up your windows. The tenants sure as hell aren't going to do it. So it's like, if you want that peace of mind to protect your investment, getting new windows, especially impact, you really can't go wrong with it. That's, in my opinion, especially if you're going to hold that house for a long period of time, you're going to want to have impact windows or upgraded windows. Definitely not the single pane bullshit that they were putting in back in 2007, 2008. I had a whole house. I had to replace all the windows because it was like the air, like the house would have hot spots. It was horrible. So that was one investment that I felt as though was definitely worth it. Another thing I want to talk about is the roof. When it comes to buying a rental property, you don't want some, tile roof, some expensive roof, because when it comes time to replace that is going to nuke your ROI. You want shingles. The roofs, pretty much a house has got a lifespan as far as the roof is about 20 years in my experience. That's if things are pretty ideal and everything works out and you don't get like a ton of hurricanes. You got about 20-year time frame. So I would rather replace a shingle roof in 20 years than a damn tile roof that's going to cost way more, because those things are like exorbitantly expensive to replace and also to fix. So I would go with a shingle roof. Another thing I want to talk about is the landscaping. Don't go ham on the landscaping. Just have basic shit, because you don't want to have like begonias and all these sorts of stuff that requires monthly maintenance, because A, the tenants aren't going to do it, and B, if you pay somebody to do it, like a gardener or whatever, that's going to eat into your ROI. It's like people love all the amenities. They love pools. They love the landscaping, but nobody wants to pay for it. The name of the game is getting as many people able to rent your place. And one of the ways to do it is to try to bring the cost down for you, so then you can charge less. So then it opens up the door for more people. Another thing I want to talk about is a fence. A fenced in backyard, I've lost potential tenants because I didn't have a fence on one of my properties. A fenced in backyard just opens the door for more tenants. Most people have dogs, especially families. So it's just something that you want to be able to have the most people able to rent your place. Some people won't rent a place because it doesn't have a fence, especially one that butts up to a lake because they're afraid an alligator is going to grab their kid or grab the dog. So just putting in a fence is worth the money. It costs around $5,000, and it's a solid investment. I mean, I wouldn't say put in a pool because that would be horrible, but fence, that's something that you're actually it's gonna make your property more rentable. Last thing is gutters. If you're gonna be keeping the property a long time, you gotta put gutters on the house, because if you don't put gutters on, it's gonna screw up the foundation. You need to protect your investment. And it's a lot of people don't think about shit like gutters. Oh my God, like gutters, you walk right by it. You know what I mean? And a lot of the builders, they don't put them on there. So it's something you gotta do later. If protecting your investment is something you're interested in, especially if you're going to keep the property for a long period of time, you got to put gutters on it, especially in Florida because of all the freaking water we get. That's all I got. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Crusader out.